Have you ever stopped to wonder, why do we call the divine our father, our mother, or our friend? Are we truly seeking the ultimate truth, or are we just treating the supreme power like a cosmic vending machine, begging for wealth and comfort? Today, we are diving into a profound and deeply hidden mystery that will completely shatter how you view your spiritual connections. Imagine a brilliant, fiercely proud atheist standing before a massive crowd, flawlessly arguing that the Supreme does not exist. Yet, instead of anger, a pure-hearted saint walks right up to the stage and embraces him with absolute joy. Why? Because he realized that only the divine could plant such magnificent, original thoughts into a human mind. But the mystery goes even deeper. Picture an ancient ashram filled with proud scholars. Their master asks one simple, yet impossible question: what is the one thing an ordinary human sees every single day, a king sees only occasionally, but the creator of the universe has never experienced? The scholars were left utterly speechless. It wasn't until a humble, mud-covered gardener walked through the doors that the ultimate secret of the soul was finally revealed. Are you ready to discover the answer? Take a deep breath, completely empty your mind, and let's begin this incredible journey to self-realization.
Today's satsang is about the multiple gross human relations with God. In simple words, you can understand it like this: humans form different kinds of worldly relationships with God. Some call the Lord a father, some a mother, and some a friend. Devotion to the Lord can take many forms, so people worship Him as a father, a mother, or a friend. However, if you think deeply, can the Lord truly have an ordinary human form? The Lord is a supreme power. That power exists as a seed in every living being and in every single particle of the universe. Therefore, to view the Lord merely in the form of a father, mother, or friend is actually a person's ignorance. This is why it is only appropriate to respectfully address the Lord as thou or thee, terms of deep respect. These are highly honorable words that can be used to address the Lord. The Lord is the complete supreme power. All forms in this world belong to Him, yet He is one. When a person experiences that one in everything, understand that they have found the Lord, they have attained self-realization. Because the Lord is one, experiencing Him is true self-realization. Now, understand this in detail. The Lord is a supreme power. The Lord Himself is Brahma, the Lord Himself is Vishnu, and the Lord Himself is Mahesh. In the form of Brahma, the Lord creates us. In the form of Vishnu, He sustains us, providing us with the means to eat, drink, and live. And in the form of Mahesh, He absorbs us back into Himself. In the English language, the Lord is called God. G stands for generator, which represents Brahma. O stands for operator, which represents Vishnu. D stands for destroyer, who merges everything back, reducing it to nothingness or a void. Above Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh lies the great void, the Mahashunya, and the supreme power of the Lord is absolute emptiness within that void. Therefore, Only when you completely empty yourself from within, meaning your individual, self, or ego ceases to exist, can you truly experience the Lord. The Lord is a great power. Everything happens entirely according to His will. Every living being is born within the Lord's divine presence, resides and lives within His presence, and eventually merges back into His presence. Understand it in another way. A being takes birth, grows up, and eventually leaves its physical body completely within the Lord's domain. Yet, the Lord remains the ultimate void. We are born in this void, we grow within it, and ultimately, we dissolve back into it. Every living being dances just like a puppet tied to strings. The operator or the one who makes us dance is the Lord Himself. We move in whatever direction He guides us. Everything is operated by Him through these strings. The controlling string is what we call consciousness. We are guided and governed according to it. However, out of ignorance, a person thinks that they do everything through their own thoughts, reasoning, and intellect. This is merely a person's illusion. The true doer is the Supreme Lord alone. He is the Almighty. This is because we all live, are nurtured, grow, and eventually dissolve back into Him. But where do thoughts, reasoning, and intellect within the mind come from? This is a very deep question. Ultimately, everything arises from the mind itself. Now, understand this, whatever enters the mind also comes exactly according to the directions of that supreme power. The mind itself is also a great power of the Supreme Lord. This is a highly hidden and mysterious phenomenon. It is a deeply complex and logical question that cannot be easily explained in words. It remains profoundly secret and mysterious. Debating this topic can go on endlessly. There is simply no end to the arguments. Endless logic and counterarguments can be presented on this matter. But ultimately, one realizes that there is only one single source from which all these thoughts of debate are arising. That is, the source of these thoughts is the Lord Himself, meaning, everything is consciousness, everything is God. Even the thoughts to argue and debate originate from Him. A person can realize this only by going into the deepest depths of their own meditation, that everything is the Lord alone. He does everything, He is the one who provides the very thoughts used for debate. To understand this, there is a very famous story from the lifetime of Lord Ramakrishna. During his time, there was a great philosopher in Bengal who was a complete atheist. He had absolutely no belief in God. On the other hand, there was Lord Ramakrishna, whose entire life was dedicated to the Lord. He did everything according to the Lord, purely by the Lord's will. He used to say that not even a single leaf can move without the will of God. One day, that philosopher challenged Lord Ramakrishna, declaring that he would prove that God does not exist and that the Lord has no authority whatsoever. He made this claim because he was a staunch atheist with zero faith in the Lord. Lord Ramakrishna, being very pure and simple, accepted his challenge with utmost ease and naturalness. Now, this philosopher was a master of words and language. When Lord Ramakrishna accepted the challenge, an audience of thousands gathered to witness the event. Lord Ramakrishna told the philosopher, "First, you address the gathering and tell them that God does not exist and that he has no authority. Tell them that man is supreme and that man does everything through his own intellect." Hearing this, the philosopher was very pleased and felt incredibly proud. He then presented such fine and profound arguments before the audience that all the listeners were completely mesmerized. Everyone was almost convinced that God has no authority and that human beings do everything themselves. However, hearing these deep arguments about the non-existence of God, Lord Ramakrishna became extremely delighted. He was absolutely amazed by the brilliance of the philosopher's arguments and the eloquence of his speech. Lord Ramakrishna could not contain himself. Right in the middle of the speech, he walked onto the stage and warmly embraced the philosopher. He then said, "Such subtle and original thoughts about himself can only be spoken by the Lord. Only the Lord can demonstrate how truly great he is. That is exactly why he gifted such profound and original thoughts to this philosopher." Lord Ramakrishna further added, "Listening to such original thoughts, even an ignorant person like me has deeply realized how great the Lord is. Even I had not been able to understand his true greatness before this." He went on to say, "Without the power and grace of the Lord, a person can never possess such brilliance, nor can they generate such incredibly subtle thoughts." Lord Ramakrishna embraced the philosopher once again, and after hugging him, he gracefully stepped down from the stage. The philosopher was greatly surprised, thinking, "I am speaking against him, yet he just keeps praising me." When Lord Ramakrishna stepped down from the stage, the philosopher began to speak again. But now, unknowingly, the essence of the Lord began to reflect in his words. In the end, Lord Ramakrishna went back onto the stage and highly praised the philosopher's knowledge. He said, "If the Lord does not give the capability, if the Lord does not grant the intellect, how could a person speak such words? Where else would he get such brilliance? Such subtle thoughts cannot simply enter the mind, nor can this art of speaking come on its own. This is the brilliance of the Lord alone. It is the Lord himself speaking through his mouth. The philosopher is not speaking, the Lord is speaking." After this incident, the philosopher went home and spent the entire night deep in thought. He could not sleep at all. The very next morning, he returned, shedding streams of tears. He completely surrendered, became a devotee of God, and turned into a beloved disciple of Lord Ramakrishna. Understand it this way: Lord Ramakrishna did not oppose the philosopher. Instead, he saw the power of the Lord in his subtle thoughts and words, because everything is the Lord alone. The Lord is present in opposition, and the Lord is present in cooperation, because the Lord is the ultimate void. He can exist in opposition just as he can in cooperation. This perfectly demonstrates that the power of the Lord is present in everyone. The power of the Lord is truly infinite. The human mind has an experience of only about 30 or 40 years. Since the mind is only 30 or 40 years old, the power and maturity within it are very limited. How can a mere human comprehend this supremely powerful, omnipresent Lord? Just as a youth becomes arrogant after learning a little bit, human beings also become arrogant with their limited intellect. This is why some people do not believe in the Lord. They do not believe because they are still like children spiritually. They do not comprehend the infinite power of the Lord. Their lifespan is merely 30 or 40 years, whereas the Lord is ancient and eternal. The Lord has no boundaries, nor is there any limit to his wisdom. How can one possibly understand the infinite Lord with such limited worldly knowledge? When a person does not truly understand the Lord, in this state of ignorance, they form relationships with him. Why do they form a relationship with the Lord? Simply to obtain something from him. A person is only able to understand this much, that the Lord is greater than them. Naturally, people want to get things from those who are greater or higher than them, so they ask them for favors. That is exactly why people ask the Lord and pray to him. Just as a person desires to get wealth and property from their elders, they form material and worldly relationships with the Lord in the hope of receiving something from him. Many people view the Lord as a father, many as a mother, and many as a friend, just to get something in return. Some view the Lord as a beloved, and some worship the form of the Divine Mother, hoping it will bring them wealth and prosperity. They make grand idols of the Lord and worship them. They build massive temples. Ultimately, they only want to acquire all kinds of worldly comforts and riches from the Lord. By getting wealth from the Lord, they wish to live in luxury. They ask the Lord for the happiness and well-being of their children and family. They ask for all sorts of riches and seek high positions in life. It is for this very reason that they form worldly relationships with the Lord and constantly ask him for material things. Their demands remain strictly limited to physical and material objects because the human mind is simply unable to rise above materialism. Human thinking and the human mind remain stuck in worldly things. Think deeply about this for a moment. Look at the massive crowds gathered in temples and gurudwaras. You cannot even imagine the sheer size of these crowds. Out of curiosity, ask anyone in that crowd what they have come to the temple for. You will very easily realize that their desires are solely for material things. They have come to get the Lord to fulfill their personal wants, standing before the Lord like a beggar, just hoping to receive something from Him. He does not want the Lord, he only wants material things and wealth. For him, the Lord is merely a means to obtain possessions and money. Material objects have become the very essence of human life, wealth has become life itself. He does not seek the Lord in any form. He does not desire the Lord who provides everything, he only desires worldly possessions from Him. Just as in modern times, children do not want their parents, they only want their wealth. Children desire the services of their parents, expecting their parents to serve them. They do not truly love their parents, nor do they serve them, they only want to be served by them. They abandon their parents in old age homes so they can take their last breath right there. They do not care for the ones who brought them into this world, who raised and nurtured them by sacrificing their own nights of sleep. This is the tragic irony of human nature. Children often behave exactly like this with their parents. They do not realize that the very source from which they came is a great power in itself. It is purely out of greed, the craving for wealth and material things, that a person forms relationships with others. One only builds connections with those from whom something can be gained, whether that person is an official in an organization or a wealthy friend. In the exact same way, one forms a relationship with the Lord just to get something from Him. Relationships are formed solely with the intention of acquiring. If you look closely, a human being is essentially living like a beggar. He keeps a wife for his own comfort and to satisfy his own physical desires. He does not even know what true love actually is. He maintains relationships with friends and siblings only so that they can be of use to him in some way during his life. A person completely forgets their fundamental source, their parents. He keeps a relationship with them merely to gain something. His connections exist solely to obtain money, property, and inheritance. This is the tragic irony of worldly relationships. True love has become completely empty everywhere. A person considers the Lord simply as another form of a parent, just so they can get something from Him as well. They show respect only to acquire wealth and property from the Lord. It is for this very reason that they worship the Lord's image and His idols. They do not actually want the Lord. They go to temples solely to obtain wealth and prosperity. Now think about it. When a person does not even truly want their own parents, how can they ever want the Lord? This is merely a business transaction with the Lord. They do business with the Lord, and that is precisely why they visit temples and gurudwaras. A genuine desire for the Lord is impossible for them. Today's human being has simply become a trader. Just as a person wants comfort and wealth from their parents, they want all of this on an even grander scale from the Lord. But from the bottom of their heart, they neither want their parents nor the Lord, nor do they truly love the Lord. In reality, they do not even know what true love is. They view both their parents and the Lord merely as tools for their own utility. Because of this very selfish attitude, a person fails to find peace of mind. And without peace of mind, they neither receive the true blessings of their parents nor do they ever attain the genuine presence and closeness of the Lord. Despite all of this, parents and the Lord continually shower love upon their children in one form or another. This is their true greatness, and this is the fundamental law of destiny. Therefore, even if you do not love the Lord, and even if you do not love your parents, the Lord and your parents will always keep giving to you. This is the ultimate beauty of greatness, and this is the highest peak of true love. Love only knows how to give. Love neither demands, nor does it know how to take. Now the question arises, what should a person do? A human being must understand that the Lord is not a physical relationship like a parent or a sibling. You cannot have the same worldly relationship with the Lord as you do with your family, because the Lord is an omnipresent energy. The Lord is a universal, all-pervading power. This energy holds pure consciousness, and this energy holds supreme intelligence. It is this very energy that operates the entire universe. If a person understands the profound secret of this energy and becomes one with it, only then can they become as radiant and powerful as the Lord. They too can become omnipresent like Him. First and foremost, a person must detach the concept of the Lord from worldly ties. They must understand from the deepest depths of their mind and consciousness that the Lord is pure energy, a supreme power. Then, they must completely immerse themselves in this power. They must become one with it. Only when they merge with this energy will a person become endowed with all divine virtues, just like the Lord. To achieve this, first understand that the consciousness of the Lord resides right within your own physical body. It is this consciousness that truly drives and operates a human being. This consciousness is the ultimate source of life. Consciousness is like a flickering light present in the form of a seed within a person. This flickering light enters a human being from the very moment of birth. As it is nurtured and developed, wisdom grows within the person. As this wisdom expands, divine qualities naturally begin to awaken inside them. The person becomes truly self-reliant and independent. The capacity and depth of their mind expand. Ultimately, the individual becomes connected to the eternal, unshakable source of knowledge, and true brilliance perfectly blossoms within them. In this state, a person no longer wanders from door to door seeking material objects. They do not ask the Lord for worldly possessions. Instead, they ask the Lord for the Lord Himself. They desire only the Lord's true power, not physical things. At this stage, they no longer form worldly relationships with the Lord. They wish to become a manifestation of the Lord Himself, so that the exact same supreme power present in the Lord awakens within them. They stop forming parent-child relationships with the Lord, realizing that the Lord is pure energy. Only by becoming one with this energy can that great power enter a human being. That is why they simply wish to immerse themselves in this power. When they completely merge into this energy, they become fully empowered and, when the time comes, can even become almighty like the Lord. Now understand this further. What must a person do to achieve this? How can one truly attain the Lord? It is absolutely essential to understand and practice this so that one can become as radiant and powerful as the Lord. First and foremost, it is extremely important to deeply understand one's own physical body. A person must completely realize that the Lord resides right within their own body. Since the Lord resides within them, by nurturing and developing that inner power, the person too can become a true reflection of the Lord. The Lord is present inside them in the form of pure consciousness. A person must strive to experience that Lord as the inner witness within themselves. All of this is possible only through true devotion to the Lord and by reaching the deepest states of meditation. If a person practices devotion and goes deep into meditation, a time will surely come when they will directly experience this inner witness. Once they experience this witness in its seed form, they can then nurture and develop it further. Then, they will profoundly realize that the soul within them, the consciousness within them, and the universal consciousness outside are all one and the exact same. That one alone is the ultimate doer, and that one alone is omnipresent. At that pinnacle of realization, they will know with absolute certainty that no one can ever harm them, because the supreme, unshakable power of their own true consciousness has fully awakened within them. Then he will understand that within all his relationships, among all his relatives and kin, the very same consciousness of the Lord exists in everyone. If he respects others, he will understand that he is actually respecting himself, because the exact same soul resides in all. If he causes pain to others, he will feel that he is causing pain to himself. When a person realizes over time that the Lord is present in everyone, he sees that the essence of the soul is one and the same in all beings. Just as the water inside pots of different shapes is exactly the same water, he will understand that the soul within him is the very same soul present in everyone else. In this state, he will no longer maintain various worldly relationships with the Lord. Instead, he will relate to the Lord solely as the Almighty Supreme. He will stop forming bonds expecting him to be a parent or a sibling. He will no longer view the Lord as a mother, father, brother, or sister. Rather, he will profoundly realize that the very same Lord is in everyone. He will experience the presence of one single soul in all. This is exactly like building a relationship with one's own self. As he nurtures his inner growth, he will gradually experience that he is becoming a manifestation of the Lord himself. Whomever a person builds a relationship with is ultimately the Lord, because the same soul is in everyone. The true meaning of this is that by forming relationships with others, a person is actually forming a relationship with himself. This very wisdom will lead to his profound inner development. Once he attains this knowledge, he begins to realize how ignorant he was in the past. He used to form relationships with others merely to acquire material things. Now he understands that, until this point, he had only wasted his energy in forming worldly attachments. He had only built relationships with mortal humans, but never built a relationship with his own true soul. The same soul that resides in me is present in everyone. If a person nurtures and develops their own soul, it ultimately means that they are building relationships with others simply by being deeply established within their own self. Now, he begins to truly understand this profound depth of life. He no longer wastes his energy on the outside. He invests his energy entirely in his own inner growth. He realizes that the development of the I within his true self is actually the development of everyone. It becomes perfectly clear to him that if he focuses on evolving himself, through that alone, he will experience the spiritual upliftment of all. He completely understands that nurturing the soul situated within oneself is the only way to merge and become one with the great soul, the Lord. Now he profoundly realizes, I must focus entirely on my own inner growth. My self-development alone will guide me to the Lord, and through it, I will naturally establish a completely spiritual and soulful bond with every human being. Now, he evolves himself through the medium of his breath. He develops himself by bringing his mind to a state of absolute emptiness. He can pursue this inner growth through the chanting of mantras, or through the practice of Kriya Yoga. He evolves his inner self to such an extent that, when the time is right, his individual consciousness merges completely with the consciousness of the Lord, becoming entirely one. At this ultimate stage, he experiences non-duality within himself, meaning, he fully enters a state where there is no separation between him and the universe. This means he realizes that exactly as he is, so is everyone else, and so is the Lord. He now profoundly experiences that pure consciousness is universally present everywhere. He begins to see his own true reflection in all directions. For him, all the different, transactional worldly relationships simply cease to exist. Now, he centers his entire faith and focus strictly on spiritual connections. Understand this even more deeply. In all places and in every single living being, he sees nothing but his own true self. This profound, unifying experience is his ultimate spiritual evolution. Now, the alignment of stars and planets no longer affects him. Neither places of pilgrimage nor the passage of time have any impact on him anymore. He now realizes that the Lord is present everywhere, in every single place. Everything is the Lord. He understands that all time is one and the same. He deeply realizes that the Lord alone does everything. Time remains as it is, but the doer of all things is solely the Lord. Now, through his mind, words, and actions, he completely enters the state of absolute non-duality. In this supreme state, whatever arises in his consciousness, meaning whatever he intends through his pure consciousness, happens all by itself. This is the magnificent play of destiny, because his individual consciousness has fully merged with the omnipresent consciousness. Therefore, whatever he wishes for simply manifests. This is the divine play of existence. First and foremost, he desires nothing at all. But whatever he does wish for is merely a form of divine play, and it all comes to fruition effortlessly. This is exactly why it is said that Lord Brahma created this entire universe for his own divine play. Now, he perceives everything around him simply as a part of this beautiful cosmic play. He rises completely above the cycle of birth and death. He no longer weeps for anyone's departure, nor does he become overly attached or elated upon meeting anyone. Just as everything is one and equal for the Lord, everything becomes one and equal for him. He feels no elation in gaining or uniting, nor does he feel any sorrow in losing or separating. Now, he reaches the absolute, complete realization that everything is simply the divine play of the Lord. For him too, life simply becomes a play. He has neither the fear of losing anything nor the joy of gaining anything. This is the ultimate state of an awakened being, the Mahamanav. A truly awakened being does not form worldly attachments. He completely rises above the concepts of losing and gaining. This profound state is achieved only when he experiences absolute emptiness within himself. The universe itself is a complete void, and if a human being can also experience this absolute emptiness within, then all of this becomes possible. Everything is born in this void, and everything ultimately dissolves back into it. This emptiness is the very essence of pure consciousness, because emptiness alone is omnipresent. Emptiness alone is Brahma, it is the ultimate form of the Supreme. Understand this further, becoming a void yourself and experiencing this emptiness in everything around you is the greatest spiritual achievement. In this supreme state, a person understands that the Lord, too, is a manifestation of this ultimate void. If he truly experiences this emptiness within himself, he clearly realizes that he has become a manifestation of the Lord. He has become exactly like the Lord. This happens because emptiness does not want to acquire anything from emptiness. When he himself has become a void, and the Lord is also a void, then what can emptiness possibly obtain from emptiness? whatever belongs to the Lord naturally becomes his as well. In this supreme state, he becomes completely one with everything. He neither falls into any worldly attachments nor does he maintain a transactional, human-like relationship with the Lord. This is because he is now firmly and completely established within himself. What relationship can the self possibly have with the self? He now experiences the Lord entirely within his own being. This is the highest, most magnificent state of existence, and this is the ultimate state of liberation while living. Now understand further, learn about the deepest relationship with the Lord. The Lord is a supreme power. If you develop worldly relationships with him, like treating him as a father, mother, brother, or sister, you are essentially bringing the great Lord down to your own level, treating him as if he is just like us. To think that he is merely a human like us, just with a bit more knowledge or a different form, is to completely underestimate the true magnitude of the Lord's supreme authority. To consider the Lord as someone like yourself is like reducing his supreme power to nothing. The Lord's authority is entirely divine. It is the driving force of the entire universe. He simply cannot be bound by our worldly human relationships. He is a great power, and we all reside within this very power. How can we truly know the Lord with whom we are already one? It is exactly like trying to know your own self. This is entirely indescribable and impossible. A person can never fully comprehend or know this supreme power in any form. A human being can only dissolve into this supreme power. You can only become one with it. By becoming one, a person can blissfully rest within the Lord. Since we can neither fully know him nor comprehend him, in our limited state, we can only refer to him as the absolute unknown. This is exactly why wise seekers and scholars address the Supreme Soul simply as Thou or Thee. These are the most appropriate and respectful words. This highlights that it is only out of sheer ignorance that we keep him entangled in ordinary human relationships. He is almighty, great, and incomparable. He is the one and only, and a person can only immerse themselves completely in him. You can only become one with him. With a petty and limited human intellect, one can never comprehend the Lord in any shape or form. Therefore, trying to form ordinary human relationships with the Lord is merely human ignorance and foolishness. Addressing the Lord with deep reverence as Thou or Thee remains the most honorable way to speak of him. Now, you can understand the supreme authority of the Lord a little more deeply through a story. Through this engaging tale, you will be able to profoundly experience this great thought. A true master had many disciples. The Guru imparted all kinds of knowledge to them. He gave them the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, all the Upanishads, the Shastras, the Vedas, the Puranas, and all other holy scriptures. The Guru repeatedly tried to explain one core principle to them: understand knowledge through the depth of your consciousness, not merely through words. He advised them to continuously reflect and contemplate upon the knowledge, as only then would they have a new experience every single day. He told them, after every reflection, you will realize that there is still so much you do not know. You will feel that you are learning something new after every contemplation. Therefore, reflect daily on whatever knowledge you have acquired. The Guru further instructed, after contemplating, hold your experience deep within your consciousness. If you cannot hold it in your consciousness, write it down in a personal diary. Keep that diary in a private and safe place where no one else can read it. If a new, deeper understanding ever contradicts or shatters your previously accumulated understanding, simply erase the old entry from your diary. Gradually, the depth of your understanding will increase, and you will realize for yourself how ignorant you were just 6 months ago, and how much your level of understanding has risen now. You will begin to directly experience your own inner wisdom. In this way, time slowly passed. The disciples completed their education, having been guided and taught by the Guru for about 3 years. However, after acquiring all this education, the disciples started considering themselves more learned and accomplished than one another. A strange, unprecedented kind of ego had crept into each of them. Along with this pride, a deep feeling of jealousy and resentment towards each other had also awakened in their hearts. Finally, the time for the examination arrived. The disciples assumed that the Guru would ask specific questions testing their deep knowledge of the Vedas and scriptures, evaluate them based on that, and then award them their certificates before bidding them farewell from the ashram. However, the true master did not ask anything of the sort. Around 40 to 50 disciples had gathered for the test. The Guru gave everyone just one single question and said, "Answer my simple question." He instructed them, reflect deeply on this question throughout the night and gather here tomorrow to give your answer in front of everyone, since the question was the same for all of them. The Guru further added, until tomorrow morning, no one will speak to anyone else. You are all free to study privately, read books, or sit in solitude. But absolutely no one will converse with another. He then said, the question is very simple yet deeply interesting. The Guru's question was, tell me about a substance, a living being, an unknown mystery, a sensitive situation, or a simple event that an ordinary person experiences every day. A king gets to experience it only occasionally, but the Lord is so helpless that he has never experienced it. To ensure clarity, the Guru repeated the question, tell me about such a substance, living being, unknown mystery, sensitive situation, or ordinary event. Everyone listened to the question carefully and understood it. There were no doubts left in their minds about what was being asked. All the disciples then returned to their rooms. Some began to meditate, some started studying their scriptures, and others became completely engrossed in deep thought. The very next day, at the appointed time, all the disciples gathered together in one place. The Guru then called them to the stage one by one. However, everyone gave foolish and illogical answers to this profound question. Some could not even come up with an answer at all. The Guru did not agree with any of the answers, mostly because even those giving the answers were doubtful themselves whether they were right or wrong. The Guru faced immense disappointment because not a single disciple could give an answer that satisfied him. Even after studying so much, it was as if the disciples did not even know that 2 and 2 make 4, some were calling it 22, while others were calling it just 1. All the answers given by the disciples were utterly foolish. As absolute silence filled the room, the Guru became deeply displeased. Just then, the old gardener of the ashram, nervous and wearing torn clothes with hands covered in mud, gathered great courage and entered the room. He had overheard the question the previous day while he was working. Seeing him, the Guru gently said, "It seems you know the answer. Perhaps you live with this answer day and night." With his eyes brimming with tears, the gardener replied, "Yes, I live with it day and night. I experience it constantly. I experience it in every single moment. I experience it even within my own breaths, and I experience it in every living being. No matter how many dangerous snakes pass by me, I experience only him. He, too, loves me very much. Seeing him in everyone, I too love everyone. Even in the form of a snake, he has never brought me any harm, because I have truly loved him. What more can I say, Guruji?" The gardener continued. "He is only one. He is present in all. When he is one, how can he possibly see himself? How can the self see the self?" He further explained, "We ordinary human beings see each other every single day. We fight, we argue, and we love each other. A king, however, sees another king only occasionally, either when he travels to another kingdom, or when another king visits his. Otherwise, how can he meet another king? Therefore, a king can only see another king occasionally. He sees another king only when he is invited to another kingdom." He further added, "But the Lord is an orphan, or rather, you can say that he is the Almighty. He is the only one in this entire universe. There is absolutely no one else like him. So, where would he find another to look at? How can he ever see another?" Hearing this, absolute silence filled the room. Then the true master broke the silence and said, "This is the true essence of spirituality. This is the greatest mystery. This is the absolute secret of all the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone had fallen silent. They all finally understood that we have only one eternal relative. Our eternal relative is our own soul, which resides within us and within everyone else. There is only one single soul within all of us. He is one in the entire world, one in the entire universe. He is only one. When he is the only one, how can he see himself? The self cannot see the self. So, the deep moral of this story is that the Supreme Soul or the Paramatma is one. The soul is one, and the entire universe is operated by him alone. If we become completely one with our own soul, we no longer need any worldly relationships or ties. The true meaning of becoming one with the self is that we become one with the entire universe. Therefore, self-realization is the greatest and highest state of being. And this is the ultimate goal of life, and this is exactly what the goal of life should be. Thank you.